I love talking with Craig Bolanos. And Craig, you have some exciting news. Welcome back to WGN.
Jon, it's great to be with you. NASDAQ over 20,000, Bitcoin back over 100,000, new company, new brand, improved mission. Life is good.
I love that. I love that you first started with the good news for all of us because that's what you like to do. But we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that you're now the founder and wealth advisor at VestGen Wealth Partners. That's a new name to me, to listeners. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we stand in this momentum period of time where some 37% of financial advisors, Jon, that's more than 1 out of 3 financial advisors, is going to retire in the next decade. And you know what that means? That means their clients are going to need to find new management. Their clients are maybe at the risk of mismanagement. So why is not now? The time is now. Let's redefine succession in the financial advisor landscape, and we do that through an integrated, comprehensive approach, developing Gen 2 advisors, all in a family office. Because Jon, we talk about it all the time. You can't just invest. You can't just have a plan. You have to have the estate planning, the taxes, the retiree health care, everything coordinated end to end with a seamless tech stack. And that's how we're redefining this industry for those financial advisors and, most importantly, their clients who are going to see transition over the next decade.
That's got to be a fine line you guys do at VestGen. Obviously, you want to keep the operation small enough that people know each other's names. You trust everyone. Everyone trusts each other. But you want it to be big enough that, like you're saying, that one day when you're almost at the goal line with retirement, boom, your person retires and now you feel a little lost figuring the rest out. So you want to have a team of Generation 2, as you said, the next group of folks able to pick up the ball for everybody else. That's got to be a challenge for you guys, but one that I'm sure you value.
Well, you know what? Everything is a challenge. Business is about, adapting, overcoming, improvising. So is everything we do in life, Jon. And we have a chance to preserve legacy, empower what I consider to be the future of wealth management. And when you assemble a great team of industry experts together, all coming together for one sincere purpose, which is let's put the client's interest first, I think that's going to further define what VestGen Wealth Partners is going to do in the months and, more importantly, the years to come.
I'll say the website again before we get off here, but getretiredstayretired.com. I knew that was a Craig Bolanos special the moment I read that that's what the website will guide you to, because you say that a lot here on our airways. We're used to it. Getretiredstayretired.com. Okay, we'll have a little bit more on VestGen in a moment. But first, as you mentioned, the tech stocks doing some good stuff here lately, huh?
Tech stocks are doing a lot of good stuff. In fact, everything. I mean, Jon, economic growth has been almost Goldilocks.
Yep.
I mean, the soft landing is being reinforced. The 10-year Treasury yields have declined to multi-week lows. The Federal Reserve is going to cut rates in December, and the market currently views the threat of tariffs as a negotiating tool, not an event that's actually going to happen. So you put it together, solid growth, ongoing rate-cutting cycle, Treasury yields heading lower, no actual tariff disruptions yet. You know what that means? This is a setup for momentum for the S&P 500 going into year-end and to kick off January of 2025.
It's interesting. You said that the markets seem to see the tariff threat as huffing and puffing. Well, what if the house gets blown down and in come the tariffs? Could that disrupt things, Craig?
Well, of course, there's always two sides to every coin. We need to be fair and balanced, Jon. That's why your show is so fantastic. And I will tell everybody that if the economic data deteriorates just a bit, if we have too much stimulus that resparks inflation, driving Treasury yields up, or we actually see the talk, the positioning over tariff threats become large substantive tariff threats, then the entire scenario that this market rally has been built upon in the last 5 months specifically all becomes at risk, because when you have a stock market priced at 22 times earnings, there's not room for much to go wrong.
Yeah, I find this whole thing fascinating. This question is probably a little more political than economic, but I'm just curious the play here, because if the market is pricing in that these tariffs aren't actually going to happen the way that the next president says they will, aren't other countries' leaders smart enough to see through the play? And I think that will provide an interesting tactical give and take as January 20th happens and beyond.
You know what? You would think that in this game of brinksmanship or whatever you want to refer to it as, the knowledge, the collective wisdom is out there, so it would lead to not getting concessions from other countries. I just don't think how that works in the real world, because we saw this play out 8 years ago. And we have a to-be leader that's already been elected, just not inaugurated, that clearly waves and carries a very big stick. And when he speaks, other countries are listening. And all I can say is I hope it's a lot of positioning. I hope some of it's some bravado. Large sweeping tariffs aren't necessarily going to be good for the end consumer. They wouldn't necessarily be good for inflation. So there's a lot that's at stake here. But for as much as could go wrong, there is so much that is continuing to go right for investors. And we shouldn't lose sight of the current situation we're in. It's almost Goldilocks.
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge the situation we could be in, but let's acknowledge it. Let's not necessarily invest and trade on it.
Yeah. Anything worry you about the inflation report? That 2.7 number looks bigger than it was before, because it is. In line with expectations, though, what are you feeling here?
Well, it was in line with expectations. I mean, am I going to be happy that the inflation fall seems to be arrested? No, of course I'm not. Am I happy that it doesn't look like we're getting to the 2% target? Definitely not. But if you tell me we're at a spot where we've got 2.7% year over year inflation, you know what? I'm going to be okay with that, so long as people's wages are outstripping that inflation going forward. That's ultimately what matters. That's what investors are thinking about, because 'tis the time of year where it's all about consumerism. It's holiday shopping. John, if the world was bad, we wouldn't have set records on Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
GetRetiredStayRetired.com is how you talk to Craig and his team. Got about 30 seconds left. Why should people be calling you guys and reaching out?
You know, I want people to call us because they're at that moment where they're on the cusp of or already retired, and they're just ready to put it together. They want a family office experience where they can solve all of their needs under one roof, or they're an advisor who sits coming into the end of 2024 and says, you know what? What is my plan for succession? What is my duty of care to all these families that have entrusted me with the stewardship of their finances? That's another reason to reach out to us at the folks at VestGen Wealth Partners.
GetRetiredStayRetired.com. I love that, Craig. You're a good guy. I'm happy for you. This is exciting stuff for you. Talk soon, okay?
Be good, John. Thank you.
And you'll hear Craig on the Biz Lunch on Friday with the other John. The other John is John. I'm the other John, but John Williams. You know what I'm saying.